Yeah, we're coming off of 2 weeks of a great training trip. This year we did something a little bit different. Our women's team and our divers were in Honolulu, which is where we traditionally would go for kind of our winter training. The men's team was up at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs for 2 weeks. And it was something a little bit different this year, but something I thought was really important with kind of, swimming is an interesting sport, swimming and diving, in that we are a combined program, but yet we compete at the end of the season at both Big Tens and NCAAs separately. And so the staff and I, when we were thinking about the season, we thought about how could we do a little bit of a better job of making sure that each team has its own identity, each team knows what it's like to compete and be on the road separately. And so we came up with the idea of separate training trips, and both went really well. Our women did a great job of really good focused work. Our divers were in Honolulu as well. They beat a very good, a very talented Hawaiian team. I thought it was really nice for our women to get the opportunity to compete separately from the men, knowing that we have our Big Ten championship meet in 4 weeks. And our guys did an awesome job of going to Denver. If I were to do that again, I think I probably would have given them more than 6 or 7 hours to acclimate to 6,200 feet. So they were kind of hurting on the back end of their competition against Denver. But again, it was a great exercise for them to have to go and race independently of our women's team, again, knowing that their Big Ten championship meet is in 5 weeks. With us being so close to conference championships, we have a great dual meet this weekend against Northwestern. It's our senior day. We're going to be honoring a great group of seniors, a group that really has just really embraced with my staff and I kind of being, and this is our second season, has really embraced us and what we're trying to do and been great leaders in the program. So we're really excited to kind of hopefully send them off with a great competition this weekend. Northwestern is a very good team. They're in a similar boat. Their head coach is in his second year. He's done a very good job over there. So it's going to be a stiff competition for our team. It possibly could be our last competition in the UW Natatorium. We don't know yet based on the timeline of the Nicholas Recreation Center opening. So with that being said, that's kind of an added focus to go there and have a great competition this Saturday. After that, we're going to do an inter-squad meet just to kind of touch on some races, get an opportunity to kind of see some athletes as we start to think about choosing our conference team. And then we're on to conferences. The women are competing in Iowa City this year. The third weekend of February, the men are going to be competing in Bloomington. In both cases, we have two goals while we're there. One is to improve our standing in the conference. The women were 5th last year. The men were 6th. We're going to try and move up in both sides. And then the second goal while we're there is to qualify as many individuals and relays as we can to go on to the NCAA championships, which take place basically 4 weeks after that. The women have their NCAAs in Athens, Georgia. The men have their NCAA competition in Indianapolis. So again, we're kind of in the home stretch here, coming off 2 great weeks of training in which we've really done some good focused work, and it's going to be making this last charge as we get ready for our conference championships.
What's it been like being on the road pretty much all season long, but also knowing you got that little carrot at the end when this new building opens?
Yeah, it's. I was just talking to Coach Johnson about that. It was, it's kind of, it's hard to wrap my brain around kind of being over here at the Nicholas Recreation Center at the NIC, as everyone affectionately calls it right now. We're obviously real excited to get in there. But at the same time, I want to make sure that we're kind of where our feet are and that we are taking advantage of just finishing out this season well and not looking too far ahead, especially for our seniors because they have done such a really good job. I think there's some benefits to going and competing on the road. You kind of have to learn how to travel. You have to learn how to, like, the logistics behind that. The athletes have to learn how to take care of themselves. And there's something to be said about having to go and race in a different pool. But yeah, we have not been here since, we haven't had a home competition since October. And in some ways, I think the Natatorium, for its charm, is a little bit of a kind of a home pool advantage in a lot of ways. I think some teams maybe walk in there in a building that was built in the early 60s and maybe don't know how to handle it as well as maybe we do, that we get to swim there every day. But it's our home. We're there for right now, and we're going to do everything we can to get the athletes prepared in that pool.
Hey, Coach, the season that Beta Nelson is coming off of last year, what's on her plate this year? I mean, it's crazy to think she's already a senior, too.
Yeah, it's, what can you say about Beta and what she's done, in representing herself as a student athlete here at Wisconsin, to win 3 national championships last year, to break an American record, to set an NCAA record. It really, in a lot of ways, just a great season for her. I think one of the big things that we talked about back in the fall, and I'm going to reiterate this, we actually are going to sit down and meet tomorrow, sometime this week, is just that idea of trying to alleviate the pressure from her of having to defend her national championship. I think I don't know where I saw it. I think it was maybe when Phil Jackson was talking to the Bulls. He always talked about, guys, you don't have to defend that national championship. No one's ever going to take that away from you. It's a new season. Let's just go out there and try and do the best job we possibly can. And so, I'm sure Beta internally and externally kind of feels the pressure of, oh my gosh, you won 3 last year. Can you do it again this year? And I'm going to do everything I can to kind of, maybe insulate her from that talk, because it's like if she could go to that meet and swim best times and do the best job she can but not win, then, it's still going to be a really good season for her. And so I think it's just kind of controlling that narrative a little bit and maybe taking the pressure off of her to go there and do what she can. Now, can she do it? I think absolutely. I mean, she's had a great season. She's coming off a great Hawaiian trip. I mean, she was really good mid-year. I think she's got 3 top times in the country right now. So I expect her to go there and do really well. But I think the focus will be more on how she does it in terms of, sitting her down and saying, hey, let's try and do that again. If she can do it, great. And I think she can. But if not, I don't want that to be the judge of her season.
Brian?
No, you've only been here a couple of years, but what will you miss most about the natatorium?
Oh, well, I don't, I was just telling Coach Johnson that it's not a morning practice in which one of the ladies puts her gear bag down and a cockroach comes running out. I don't know if I'll miss that. But there's a lot of history there. And I think the thing that I'll miss is kind of seeing when some of the alumni come back, like with the men's team in Colorado Springs, Mike Unger. He's a proud Wisconsin Badger. He's the COO of USA Swimming. He's the second in command. He's in charge of basically putting on U.S. Olympic trials this summer. So he works with NBC. He's got 3 Emmys on his desk, and he's a Wisconsin Badger. And he talks so passionately about his time here at Wisconsin and swimming for Jack Pettinger. And he's got a lot of fond memories of the natatorium. So I think that, whenever you get rid of an old facility, there's always a loss of some of the history there and the memories that come with it. So I think, but at the same time, I think a program should always be looking ahead in a lot of ways. And I think we're all excited to create our own memories in the Nick, but I know that for a large generation of really proud Badgers, the natatorium was a really special place.